Good morning from Birmingham, Alabama. How is
Hey,
everybody?
Margaret.
There.
Good morning, Trent,
Thursday.
everyone.
Good morning.
Morning,
Thursday morning.
Thursday morning.
I
Yeah.
made it through my 97-degree day. It's only going to be 89 today. So cool off here in the heartland.
It rained the whole way up here yesterday. And then I get to Birmingham and it's sunshiny. I'm like, really?
Okay,
Well, Kerry does live. Kerry does live there, so
jobs came
Yeah,
in,
he does. He is a ray of sunshine.
he is.
continuing jobs. Looks like
Okay.
core.
What'd you say, David?
Well, the numbers are out.
PPI.
Yeah, CPI
Yeah. PPI.
or PPI is that what we
Yeah.
got?
CPI was yesterday.
PPI. So we came in at 0.1 on the core PPI, 0.1 instead of they were forecasting a negative 0.1.
Huh.
Jobless claims came in at 248. They were expecting 250.
Oh, that's mine.
Core PPI year over year
Mhm.
came in at 3. They were expecting 3.1.
So under.
So basically, US PPI, they're expecting 147.8. They got 148.
Pretty close. So
Yeah.
basically, it kind of carries on the theme from yesterday that we're not seeing these big spikes in inflation due to the tariffs yet. Like
Okay,
everyone was.
this is a good
Right.
number. PPI except food, energy, and trade
That's core.
came in
Yep.
2.7. They were forecasting 2.9.
Yeah. So see, even the inflation that the tariffs have not hit, like, a lot of the talking heads and Steve Leisman yesterday, he was having a fit trying to find something that would say that inflation was up because of the tariffs, but he couldn't find it, and that's not to say it's not coming, but it didn't come in this report.
It's
Sounds like
not.
it didn't come in PPI either.
If I can inject my opinion, it's not coming, baby.
Did you say baby after that? Because that means you're really serious. When you say baby after your statement, that
Yep.
means you're serious.
I am dead serious.
All right, I'm going to write that down, baby. Dr. Jackson said it ain't coming.
It ain't coming, baby.
Well, you can see what right now, pre-market we're down. I guess Trump came out and he was talking about tariffs again. He's going to send out a letter to countries about.
This has to do with Boeing having a plane crash in India.
Well, I mean, not all of it. I mean, NASDAQ futures, Boeing's not a part of the NASDAQ. Boeing's part of the Dow, but yeah, Boeing's down. But most of this is there's some thoughts on Israel's putting together plans to attack Iran's nuclear facilities. There's just a lot of concerns on a lot of that, and the plane did go down, and we'll look at Boeing stock. Boeing also the tariff talks between Mexico and the U.S. on steel has caused Nucor and Cleveland Cliffs. You can look at those stocks are down this morning, and also Lockheed Martin stock is down this morning. They halved the amount of production or orders for the F-35. The U.S. government has halved that. So just goes to show, you can look, you can be you can be enthusiastic about what you think is going to happen with your companies, and then all of a sudden, news comes out and you kind of get rug pulled. So that's just part of the market, and we have to deal with it. But looking at the futures, we're a bit down. Okay, oil's down, 10 years down. So it looks like a down day to start out, but again, it's not how we start; it's how we finish. I was looking at something kind of interesting, and I think this is the core of the economic issue that we may have in our country, and it's kind of amazing that how much money Americans have in their savings accounts? Nearly half. I mean, I think we have 330 million people in our country, United States, and 175 million of them have less than $500 in their savings. Okay, and that's unfortunate. I mean, and so they're living paycheck to paycheck. Oops, living paycheck to paycheck, and you're just kind of one job loss away from disaster half the country if this is true. So I mean that to me is the biggest worry is if people start losing their jobs and they only have $500 or less in their savings, what's going to happen to the broader economy. So that's just a kind of a macro thing I was looking at. I thought it was interesting, but we'll get on to more important things such as charts. SPY, come up here. Again, we're just kind of moved up a little bit. We're going to open up below. Let me get to a 6-month chart here. And you can see where resistance is. We've come up, we've hit resistance 2 days in a row on the SPY. Looks like we're going to open below. We're still above the 200. Okay, we had a bit of a nice run up for the last week and a half, in the SPY, but now we've hit resistance, kind of flattened out on the oscillators. The Qs, looking at the same. Here's the resistance, kind of flat, kind of moved up a little over the last week and a half. Again, hitting resistance twice in a row. We're going to open up below. And then we have the Dow is way below resistance. You can see it's going to open up below right at the 9 again. So we're not seeing massive run-ups in the Dows or any of the major indices. We're still sideways, and not too exciting as we've seen. Gold today, I believe. Gold's hit resistance and it's come up and kind of played around the resistance line. Looks like we're going to do that again. We got Bollinger Bands that are parallel. Gold's going to open up a little higher because you're seeing what's happening in the equities market. Silver, we watched that run up, and it's run up right to resistance. Came up, now it closed at resistance. It's going to open right below it. So, resistance is resistance. That's why they call it that. And you need to respect it as a trader and even as an investor. If you're long term, and you're trying to find an entry position, you may not want to enter at a resistance level, whether it's on a daily or a weekly or monthly chart. Bitcoin took a little bit of a breather back a little bit. It's come back down 107.3, but it's still within the support and resistance band that we've seen. I'll back it up a little bit so we can see what we're talking about. Right in here where it got it kept hitting resistance here, couldn't get past. We finally got past, moved up to another high, and now we're playing between what used to be resistance and became support, as you can see. And right now we're right above the 9 on Bitcoin. We'll see if it holds and bounces or if it goes through. We're seeing a little bit of a rollover on stochastic. Still got some RSI movement on there. You're pretty flat on the MACD, but we're still within that range. And you still see the Bollinger sideways, which means you're just going to be consolidating on the sideways pattern for Bitcoin. NVIDIA and the mags, they just kind of parallel what we see in the S&P and the NASDAQ, because these guys really are the bigger pushers of the S&P and NASDAQ. Again, hitting resistance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got the 9 coming up. We're going to open right about at the 9, at least half an hour ago when I looked at it. So I won't go through all these because they look pretty similar. Yesterday, right before we left, I heard someone made a comment, look at, Palantir takeoff. Palantir kind of went up to its upper Bollinger or above it and came back down and closed right at the upper Bollinger. So it looks a lot like the S&P. We kind of went sideways and then we're up a little bit. We're gonna open just under the Bollinger Band, but still above the 9 and above the 200 on Palantir. In our momentums, the only one that's left that hasn't hit resistance or hasn't had it show up yet is NASDAQ. It's still riding between the support at the 9 and the upper Bollinger Band, and here's where we put it on the list. Always be aware that that's going to show up at some point, just like, um, one of ours is Roblox, and this is where we put it on the list, and it came up and resistance came on, and we've been under it for 4 days. We've seen the 9 will continue to come up, and we'll see if it does our typical turnaround pattern. It comes back down and causes uh, causes the price action to also sink. So out of 9, we have 1 left there. In the under the 200s, we've done pretty well. Today we'll be down, but as far as the week goes, Whirlpool, when we got in, and these are under the 200s and they're on our list. This is $4.36 so far this week on Whirlpool. We look at EOG. This one did pretty well because it's a energy stock. We're up about $5.87 this week since we put it on the list. Lilly, we're up about $38.74 since we put it on the list. So I like these stocks where we get in at the lower part, as opposed to momentum stocks when we get in up about the 9. You have a lot more room to run, and it's not so much of a maintenance issue to try to watch those stocks either. Amgen, right in here. This is from last week. Here's the 200. You're seeing the Bollinger flatten out at the 200. So if you're in this, that would be your upper, where you might want to take some, put in a sell at that point. It's up to you. But again, on the bottom side, because we have a down day, you want to put your stops in, and here's where cost basis is, supports at the 9. So maybe down at that point, but we're up about $6.22 on Amgen. Of course, not all of them are all winners at this point. Now, so here's West. We're down about 68 cents on West if you'd have gotten in. Of course, we're on the upper Bollinger, so you probably wouldn't buy in the upper Bollinger. You would wait until it came down a little bit. So these aren't all buys, but it's just kind of where we identify them. HOLX, we're up about 25 cents since we put this on the list. AES, people are asking about AES quite a bit. If you would have bounced down here and caught it, at support, we're up for about 59 cents on AES. It still has a nice little trend up, but, watch the Bollinger Bands are coming down, and watch today, with the market being down, not that it's going to close down, but you might be able to get a better price if you wanted to get into this, if that's what's in your plan. Otherwise, you can continue to ride it. Your cost basis is down here, so have a stop down so you keep your profits. And if it pops your stop and you make some money and it goes back above it, keep that psychology out of it. That, oh, I could have made more money, because you did make money. FMC, another one that's been on the list. We're up about $3.41 on that. I'll go through all these. These are the under the 200. So we have so many under the 200. So this one actually popped up, and it actually back tested the 200 here. We're up about $6.05 on AMAT. We looked at 2 days ago, I think it was ALB, added it on kind of after the week. And ALB's up since we put on about 4.5%. And we also did LYB, and that's up about 3.7% since we put it on the list. So these are the ones, you start to see them rise. And these are the ones you try to ride them up. Even the slow ones are good because they can go and go and go. Not guaranteed, but you watch your oscillators, watch your gauges, and maybe you can have a good slow ride up and not have to worry about trading in and out of it all the time. So those are the under the 200s. Of course, we had Riot on the watch list. Riot just followed Bitcoin up, right above the Bollinger, and you're up 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'll be on the inside today, if not a little bit down, because you're looking at the price of Bitcoin going down today. We'll look at some of the others that we had. We talked about GEV had an upgrade yesterday, after it had this down day, and it went right back up to resistance. So again, it's having trouble getting past resistance, and fighting that line just sometimes is futile, and why fight that line when you can find something to come up like this, like we were just talking about. But it's really up to your individual trading plan. UNH kind of had we've been watching UNH, kind of had a good day yesterday, but it's still, below the 20. And look at these Bollingers are still parallel. I want to see a little more of the momentum. We're only at 38 on the momentum, so we're not even at the 50 level. So again, we're still kind of sideways to flat, but something to keep on because this one has potential. And like Margaret says, it's healthcare, and that's not going away. And it's a huge company, but we'll just keep watching it. CHWY at earnings. Okay, you can see what earnings did to CHWY. It was a nice run up, and then boom, earnings took it out. IREN, you guys were talking about Irene. Irene's come up, hit resistance right, and come back down. We'll see where it opens. It's over the 200, but again, you got pretty solid line of resistance above Irene. And again, this will be part of the Bitcoin trade because they are a miner also. NUE, again, Nucor will be down. It was down yesterday. It's going to be down again today. It looks like opening because of the steel. Boeing Aerospace. If you have Boeing, you're going to succumb to a little bit of a news deal today with that plane crash out of India. It was already up at resistance. So if you were trading this and you followed my trading plan and you get out at resistance, you would have been out, 3 days ago, and you're going to miss what's going to be a pretty good drop probably in Boeing Aerospace today. And then one we had on our list, and I would have gotten out of this before earnings, but this would have been probably a bad thing to do because I think Oracle's probably up 7% today on earnings. So again, that's a catalyst that'll get you past resistance. We'll see if it sticks. We'll see if it gets above and can stay above resistance and make resistance move up. But you're going to see Oracle pop up today. So again, I would have gotten out here. I'd have missed the 7% going up. But again, you're riding it up from basically the 200. So you made a good deal and you got to move on. But it is going to pop up. That's what I got, Trent. I tried to keep it a little shorter today to be respectful of your time.
Thank you.
Hey, who's laughing? Hey, who's laughing there? Bob.
So, let me show you. We're gonna look at volatility a little, but also how to spot using options, how to spot bottoms and tops and potential moves higher. So yesterday volatility jumped a bit, opened up pre-market. It's been opened up at 1787. It's right now at was it 1810. So it's right on that green line, that invisible bucket line versus the chop bucket. But it looks like it's got probably retreated a little bit here. Something that, depending on how deep you want to get into investing or trading, options can be really a good way to identify tops and bottoms. And I was looking at, there's a thing called implied volatility and realized volatility. And you can calculate the premium versus discount of, say, put contracts. And it's a really interesting indicator because when you got a market like here, where we are in the S&P, we're hitting this area of resistance. We're in this channel again, as we have been in the past. And when you look at this from an options world, the premium discount that people are willing to pay for protection is at a 16% discount right now, meaning people aren't fearful of the S&P 500 going down. And if you use a contrarian point of view on that, that is usually as that discount becomes bigger and bigger, it shows more and more signs that the S&P 500, in this case, SPY, is starting to roll over. So the optimism is getting to sort of a peak, and people aren't willing to protect themselves as much as, say, UNH has a 153% premium on put contracts. Okay, so if I flip that and use that as a contrarian point of view, what that tells me is everybody's piling into UNH, or they're writing put spreads so they can collect premium, and they don't believe that UNH can go any lower. But because of the mechanism of it's in a way shorting a stock, this can be a way to find bottoms and tops. And in UNH's case, you're going to pay 153% premium for put contracts on this. And so that buy, if you went and bought the put, that market maker is going to do the opposite. He's going to short that put or some related index. Well, like David has talked about in the past, you have a lot of short sellers piling into a position. You're creating this spring that you're sort of pushing down. At some point, that spring is going to release and pop higher. So when I look at UNH with 153% premium on put contracts, I look at this and go, okay, this is an opportunity, right? Whereas if I'm looking at SPY with a 16% discount on, or yeah, 16% premium discount, what I'll do is I'll track that every day until it becomes a positive, and that can then, or excuse me, yeah, that negative gets bigger, and that means as that negative becomes bigger in put contracts, there's more opportunity for SPY to fall and volatility to expand. And so when I look at this, I go, okay, hey, I'm just gonna go calculate, the premium discount in pre-put contracts. And what this is telling me is that the contrarian point of view is that the discount on put contracts and optimism is overrunning pessimism on SPY, tells me from a contrarian point of view that SPY could have lower to go, and we could see a pullback in SPY. Whereas in UNH, there is such pessimism, taking a contrarian point of view, that massive pessimism unwinds and pushes UNH higher. And I look at the opportunities here is if I was a short seller or a option player, I would buy put contracts or write call spreads, which that's a whole nother subject. Put contracts because I think SPY is going to go lower, and I buy call contracts or go long UNH because I think it's going to go higher. It's this whole opposite contrarian point of view. But I was digging into UNH's premium discount on the options, and I'm like, holy cow, this could be $100 move in UNH. I see resistance right here at $421. It's trading pre-market at $310.50. This could be that bottoming, as Marcus pointed out, for a couple of weeks now. And now we're seeing it move up. Yesterday, it moved up 2.23%. This could be, there's so much pressure, shorting pressure on UNH on the downside, pushing it down, that something breaks, a headline or something, or an algorithm gets triggered, UNH could start making this move higher because of all the force that is below it that's potentially pushing it higher with the options market. And
He froze
I
on us.
think that's where, if you're looking for, you can use.
He's got Kerry's internet going. It's freezing.
Volatility as that indicator. And right now, what I see is a growing discount in put contracts on SPY, meaning SPY is likely to, as long as that grows, will go lower. And on UNH, I see opportunity on the upside because there's so much pessimism against UNH that it can go higher. So if it's something you want to learn more about, let me know, and I'll go into how you calculate it. It's a really easy mathematical formula to do, but it can give you some insight to, is there enough energy to push stock higher or lower? And as you trade or long-term invest, it gives you a big indicator. And understand, institutions are using this mechanism. So why not figure out what the institutions are doing and mimic what they're doing? It's another insight to what's happening. So that's what I got today. GE's down because of they provided the engines to that airliner that Boeing made. So that's something to take into account, and that could be an opportunity as well um, on the dip on GE. So something to take into account. So let's open it to floor.
Got a few charts that
Questions, comments.
we got a few charts that people want to look at.
All right.
Okay, so McDonald's, somebody wanted to take a look at the chart. It's interesting. I haven't looked at McDonald's in a while. I'm going to go back. Let's go back 6 months and just see what we're doing here. See what's happened. This kind of looks like the Berkshire chart a little bit to me. Not as bump. I mean, Berkshire's not as bumpy as this, but we did come down to the 200 just about in April. And now we've come down and we've reached the 200 and come back up a little bit. So it'd be interesting to see if we can, if that 200 holds as support. Right now, there's a battle going on. But if you look down at the oscillators, at least on the MACD, it's not winning. It's not winning yet, but the stochastic is starting to turn a little bit, but our momentum is not there on the RSI. So, you know, I'd be watching this if this could bounce off. Basically, the 200. You know, then the market's already got some sell orders set at 305.13. It closed at 301.72. Be interesting to see if this continues down the Bollinger Band, or it can snap back up and move upwards on McDonald's. So you'll keep that watching if you're a McDonald's fan. The other one that we were looking at, I believe, was Ethereum. Here's Ethereum. Okay, it's crypto. We talked about this. Trent did a little bit yesterday. He's more of an Ethereum person. I own some Ethereum from way back. I don't buy it now, but I just kept it. But this has come up, and Ethereum's really been fighting the 200. And a couple of days ago, it kind of broke above the 200 and back tested. And you see the Bollinger Bands moving up on Ethereum. When we go back down to the MACD, we do have a positive crossover of the Ethereum. Trent, you know more about Ethereum. Anything you want to say on Ethereum?
I have a price range today of a low end of 2501 and a high end of 3052. There's more upside. It's basically what I calculate is today's between now and close of business today. That range is pretty even. I don't have any news on it. I think this all comes down to momentum and money flow. So if risk comes back on in a big way, you know, Ethereum, from my calculations today, could get as high as 3,050, I think I said. So about 10% higher right now than where it is today, based on my model. But right now it's been trading in this range. My calculations every day has been trading in this range for a while. So there's one of two things. It's accumulation, or it's just stagnant. It's just moving with Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin moves up, it possibly move up. But it's been basically a lagger in a sense to Bitcoin in its movement.
Yeah.
So,
I like the fact that it did get above the 200 from a 200 point of view.
oh yeah.
You know, and it was
Yeah.
able to, because back here it got above, but then it couldn't hold. So at least you have a couple days above.
Yeah.
Again, I don't trade Ethereum or anything, but you know, the chart's better than being below the 200. You know,
I think it's just in a sort of a side. Well, you can see it on the chart, but based on my calculations every day, it's basically going sideways. Which, if you take the approach, you know, look at the volume, it could be an accumulation phase, and of course, and if we get any positive, you know, positive headlines or positive information, you know, it could be a move higher. But right now, I think, you know, I think 3,050 is where I've got it calculated as its potential high, which is about 10% from where we're at today.
okay.
So,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
yeah.
I'll just pull over GE. GE's, you know, we've been watching GE, and GE, even before the crash, has really kind of hit resistance and then come back down. So yesterday we had a couple move down to we hit support, and you'll probably see it, like Trent said, go down today because of the follow up on the Boeing. But the nice thing about this is this would have had us out. If you were trading and you use my guide, you would have been out several days ago. Uh, uh, Especially when it's under the 9. And I don't know what G is going to open up at today, Trent, but it's probably not higher
Right.
for sure.
Boeing's going to open up at $203, and
Yeah.
General Electric will open up. GE will open up at $239.40.
Okay.
So nothing.
So the
I
nice
mean,
thing is the charts.
it's a sad case, but
Not that the
it's
charts
nothing
knew,
big.
but the charts would have had you out before this disaster. Not that they knew or they were even correlated, but
Yeah.
and having an airplane crash, that's just it's one of the hazards of airline stocks, and it's, especially the luck or the bad luck that Boeing Corporation has had, especially after, they had bad luck and then they fought their way back, and then to have this happen, and we'll just have to wait and see if it was mechanical or pilot error or something else.
Yeah.
But, Boeing, poor Boeing, they can't get out of their own way. And sometimes, it's
Well,
just
this is
dangerous.
They
this
said
is
they
the
lost
first
power.
crash.
What's that?
Yeah.
They lost power.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only 11 years old, the plane.
That was a 787, right?
A Dreamliner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, a bigger one. Yeah, big.
Yeah.
Okay.
They said they haven't had a crash with that series yet, and this is the first one, is what
They've
I
had
heard on
failures.
They've had, yeah, but it hasn't done this.
No,
This
you
is
haven't
like
had a
the first-
crash, but they've
Yeah.
had fastener failures, and it's due to
Okay.
there's carbon fiber in that shell,
Uh-huh.
and the manufacturing of it. I mean, I don't know the direct details, but I do understand there's carbon fiber, and it's almost like that submarine went underwater. The carbon fiber connected to the titanium,
Yep.
it
Yeah.
failed. So, but anyway, this what seems to be they lost their power 700 feet
Yeah.
in the air, which is nothing.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It's a little
Especially for that
scary.
big plane.
That's like almost immediate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's like I have 2 kids that are in the air right now, headed back home from Atlanta to Panama City, and I'm like, holy crap. You see that news headline, you're like, okay, knock on wood, this is all they're gonna land, they'll be fine, right?
Yeah. That,
Are
I
you
mean,
traveling?
you think about how many planes are in the air every single day, and
Right.
the failure
Oh, yeah,
rate is
this
really
is-
low.
Yeah.
One crash, the picture is really big.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
their chances are probably higher of getting in an accident driving home from the airport than they
Hey,
are
hey, hey,
crashing a
hey,
plane.
hey, hey. I
I'm
got
just
my
giving you
wife's going to pick
statistics.
them up.
I'm just
You're
giving you
making the
statistics.
anxiety level like
Well, no,
just get to the house and
since
be
you
there, right?
since your wife is going, I know they'll be safe. If you were driving, maybe not so much.
Oh, thanks, Mark. Yeah.
Trying to make you feel better. So, Patrick, what are we
I
doing
just
in
feel
Europe
so
today?
warm inside now, Mark. Thank you.
Well, you always have to start the day off with something fresh. So.
I'd like to bring
Yeah,
up
right.
It's Thursday.
All right,
I'd like
Patrick,
to
what do you got
Let's
from
Let's get
what do you
our
got from
UK report.
the Patrick
Yeah.
report?
if I can get a word in, maybe I can say something. I'm just bringing up a stock called Tempest. Nancy Pelosi bought this in January, and it's gone up over 100% since. So maybe she knows something I don't.
Let's go take a look. Is it an American stock or is it
Yeah,
one of your?
it's American stock, Tempest, TEMPUS. Ticker is TEM, T for Tom, E for Edward, M for Mother.
Okay, so here's Nancy. This is the ETF that follows Nancy's trade. So you can see she's done well up to resistance. So you said TEM, right?
No, T for Tommy.
Yeah,
TEM. Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, this one's come up to resistance too, but yeah, it got above the 200, tested it a few times, and nice run up to resistance. Let's see, volume's pretty good, but unfortunately, I think it's run its end. I don't know. What do they do, Patrick? Do you know?
No, I don't know. I just found it this morning. I haven't done any research in it.
just be careful because again, you've hit resistance here, and you did it yesterday. You tried to get past it and got beat back down, and just be careful of that.
Sure.
What else you got, Patrick?
The other stock is called Lam Research, LRCX.
Oh, AI, it's an AI stock.
Yeah,
Tempest is an AI stock.
yeah.
Man, right at you're giving me some stocks at
Oh,
resistance.
no wonder
man.
why. This is Patrick's field. It's an
Yeah.
AI-enabled precision medicine.
Oh. Yeah. Had a nice run, but again, 2 days at resistance. We'll see if it can continue to run. So LR, I'm going to write these down so I can look at them tomorrow too. So LR, CX, and TEM. Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
Nice.
That's
You
all I
had,
got. I'm afraid that's
well, you did a good job, I guess, when you went and you helped out between China and the US. I don't know that they gotten any further than where they were before, but you did a good job anyway as our representative over there, Patrick.
yeah. I think I got the
I commend
inside,
you.
I got the inside track, I think.
You did, yeah, and I commend you for reporting that back to us.
But to start paying Patrick for his tips.
That's right, Patrick tips. So Bob, you got anything rolling?
I got nothing right now.
What? How can that be?
Nothing.
Let me see. Well, we got David.
I have a big hit on that, a big win on that Oracle.
Yeah, you're going to have that. I don't know what it's going to open up 7% or something.
He came out and said, Larry Ellison came out and said they're going to double their revenue.
Really?
Yeah.
Based
How?
what on what?
I haven't watched the call. I haven't done all that, but that was a tagline. Going to double revenue with their data centers.
Wow. Well, we had it on the list, and we put it on right here, and it had made a nice run. And again, I would have gotten out, but it's earnings. It could go either way, and it looks like it's going to go against me. But taking this much profit, I'm happy with that on a swing trade after 3 days of resistance. Earnings was the catalyst to move it past. And we'll see if it holds. We'll watch that again tomorrow and see where we end up.
Morning.
The lighter.
Okay, David, what are you doing today? Anything?
Actually, I did a lot last night and this morning, and I'm now 75% in cash.
Okay, why?
There's no catalyst for take this thing up anymore.
Okay.
So until we get a interest rate cut from Powell, I see a lot of profit taking and I see a lot of consolidation, and I have a tendency to get chopped up in the market during consolidation. So I'm just going to sit out for a while. I'm going to wait for the market to pull back a little bit. I don't see it. I don't see I'm risking that much by not being in the market. I see the risk more being in the market than out right now. We've had a real nice, like Tom Lee says, this is the most hated V-shaped recovery in history. And right now we've just moved up 30%, and now we're going straight sideways. So the market's strong. I like the market right now, but without a catalyst, I'm finding that my returns are really good. As you know, I use RSI indicators in different time frames for everything. And right now, all my RSIs are horizontal.
Yeah, and
They're straight sideways.
I've seen the
just
just price action on indices. We've been watching that for weeks, just sideways,
Just sideways.
So, yeah,
and it's like,
hard.
I'm not going to risk. I'm up in the last couple, May was phenomenal for everybody. So I'm not going to risk what I got in May to some type of major pullback, especially with Trump and Musk opening their mouths as much as.
I think that Powell's getting put in the corner, deeper and deeper. He's going to have to drop rates. I mean, after what was it? The producer price index came out.
Yeah, well, we had seen yesterday.
And it was a reset of the last one went down. It was it fell to
Right.
2%. So, you know,
Yeah, I look at it, we got to have either Powell reduce interest rates.
which they're talking about that happening next week.
Okay, if that happens, then I am immediately
What?
back. Because
Do you think that's going to happen?
I believe he's getting a lot of pressure now because everything is showing down. The only thing that's not, and we'll find out tomorrow, is jobs, right? No, we had jobs last Friday. Where did jobs come out today?
Last Friday. Well, we had initial jobs today.
Yeah,
so.
initials. What, 240?
Yeah, I put it in the chat over here for
Yeah.
you guys to take a look at. It's
All right.
jobless claims 248.
That's the only thing that's really the question mark if he tries to hang his hat, but everybody's been laying off.
The problem.
My thing with Powell is political. You know, he's a political player.
Course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he knows he's not going to be the next chairman, so he has nothing to lose.
His term is up. His term is up next year.
Yeah.
I heard a discussion about who they would potentially replace him with, and Scott Bassett was one of them.
No, really?
Yeah, that's what that and a Kevin something. I don't know. I didn't catch the last name.
Huh.
But they were saying Bassett would be much more aggressive
Oh, definitely.
versus this other guy. And so Kevin's I heard
who would take Bassett's position?
Janet Yellen.
You.
Return. Yeah, you Bob.
There's no way. There's absolutely no way.
Hey, you're good at getting us back on track. What? Yeah, we're gonna bring in Bob.
There's absolutely no way.
That'd be a nightmare.
No, I think it'd be fun.
I don't think he's going to bring back Mnuchin again.
No,
I don't know.
No, none of the old guys are going to come back for sure. You know, I don't think. That's just my opinion.
Well, to finish my thought, there was two catalysts I was looking for. I'm looking for Powell interest rate cuts, or passage of the bill. If we get
not going to happen for over another month.
That's the point. That's the point. And so right now we're just going to be in Chop City. So
which I think we have been in for a while too.
Yeah, we have been.
Yeah. You don't have to be in the market all the time. That's a good point that David's bringing up. And I'm not always in the market. That's why I do treasuries. I'll just throw it in a 30-day treasury and wait. And I wrote every Tuesday I have treasury bills that come due, you know, and so I'll have X amount of money and I either put them back in treasuries or I put them to work. And for the last couple of weeks, it's really not been anything to really look at from my point of view, based on my trading plan and my risk tolerance. Other people, you know, have done well. You know, they're following some momentum stocks, making some money, and that's good. That's what we're here for. Not Margaret's.
I think one of those things you got to consider is that move. You know, David said, what, 30% move from the bottom to where we are? That's a gigantic move in a very short period of time. At some point, you got to have a retracement historically. You know, that money is, you know, they bought in at the low end, the institutions, they drove this thing back up. Well, now they're going to take their profits and bring it down to some reasonable level. And so I think that would be to be expected. And so I think, you know, if you look at the S&P and the channel I was showing you, it looks like it's going to come down towards the bottom end of that channel. If it holds up, then there could be a move higher and a catalyst that push it higher. I think the one thing you have to remember is the institutional world is in the business of making money. If they don't make money, they lose money. That means money leaves and goes somewhere else. So they're always looking for some way to push it higher. What's that?
They have to show profits to their investors, and that's where they are right now.
And
they're coming up.
There's momentum still happening.
If I may, the reason I am skeptical right now is Tom Lee was in a meeting last week was talking about the institutions missed in April. They made on
Right.
average 1%. They didn't believe in the bump that we got. And now they're behind. Now they've got record level short positions. So I don't trust them and I don't see a catalyst. And so that's why I'm cautious right now. And I'm just saying, you know what? I don't
Yeah.
know what these guys
Well,
can pull off, but they're really good at pulling stuff off.
well, I think that just from what you just said, they're, short positions. I mean, I just, shared with you the SPY is at a premium discount or a discount on put contracts, which is, yeah, you could see a pullback in that, and that's what you should see. But if you're if you're a hedge fund and you're coming up in midterm and you've only cranked out, 0% or 2%, and you're running a multi-billion dollar hedge fund, guess where that money's going? Out the door and going somewhere else.
Mhm.
So they're going to start looking at, and most hedge funds make money on the long side of things. You're going to see this at some point, and I think it's just after July. You're going to see some point where these things kick back in, and you're going to see this market start moving higher. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter about your fundamentals. It doesn't matter about your economy. I mean, hell, look at default or delinquency rates on homes, cars, credit cards. I mean, it would tell you it's all shit. But these guys are like, I don't give a crap. I make money on the long side, and if UNH is so down, and I can trade that and make $100 a share, I'm doing it. And so I think this is where we're in an environment where volatility is low. These guys have to make money, so they're going to become very good stock pickers, and there's certain areas where they're going to make money. And I still look at the indexes. You look at vol funds, they are not risk on. They have been risk off this whole time. At some point, when that 30-day vol average rolls off on July 2nd, I think you're going to see these guys put more risk on, and you're going to see this SPY start moving through the 6,050 is the resistance level now. You're going to see this thing move up into the 6,100, 6,200 range. And I think that's second half of this year.
But
So find your companies, find your good companies, and find positions and put it on your watch list.
if they're shorting and Powell cuts next week, the stock market's going to take off and they're going to double fuel it, because if they're that short,
Yeah.
they're going to have to cover. They're going to have to
Yeah.
buy.
Good point.
Just a note also that we are 12 days into June, and June is the end of the second quarter. So there'll be some window dressing at the end of the month too. Just remember.
Yeah.
These
That's a
guys
good
got,
point,
you're
Mark.
coming in on the 21st, I think it is. No, 20th. Big option expiration. So all these options that are expiring will come unwound, and that money, all of a sudden you'll see a neutralization of market makers who have been short future contracts to hedge their books, which suppresses volatility, suppresses the market from going higher. Once that unwinds, all of a sudden you got freedom, you got air ahead of you. And I think that's one of these mechanics you got to take into account, you got to respect. And so I'm more, what was it, neutrally optimistic. I'm becoming more optimistic, on a scale of 1 to 5. I'm more like a 3 right now. I honestly think as we get in after the 20th, after the July 2nd, I see this thing will rocket up. And then somebody will say something stupid and it could take it back down. But I think these guys have to make money. And a
I'm also optimistic. I see a change in the market.
lot of these
Um,
institutions, these hedge funds, I think, and now they're on the line of, hey, if you don't do something this year, we're pulling our money, we're going somewhere else with it.
yeah.
So
Well, that's from Trent Frickmeyer.
yeah,
So to be said, so to be done.
There's an important earnings today. RH reports at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That'll tell you where we are with housing and the middle to upper class also.
Here's this BS that I heard today on CNBC just before I jumped on here was with the interview with the CEO of IBM. And he said, the economy's great, good. Everything we see things
Yeah,
are good.
where?
And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you don't address housing payment delinquencies. You're not looking at credit card delinquencies. You're not looking at consumer auto loan delinquencies. You're not looking at these all-time highs in the strain of America, of the average American. This guy is sitting on there with a $5,000 suit and a nice tie saying, oh, everything's wonderful.
Well, it
I'm
is
like,
for
where the
him.
fuck are you living?
Yeah,
Right?
I just showed you this morning that half of America has less than $500 in savings.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
It's been that way
$175
for a long time, Mark, but
but
that is a
so
very big issue.
Yeah,
But
so
exactly.
during
going
the
back,
pandemic, everybody had lots of money in their pockets. That's why the M2 money was so high.
yeah.
Yep.
But you look at what that message that is being told on national television, and you go back to the
I agree.
pre-housing crash,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden something broke, you know, what was it? Bear Stearns hedge fund reported they've been hiding losses, right? I mean, all of a sudden everything went toot, toot.
Hey Trent,
Remember,
I don't know about by you, but I was shocked the other day. I was looking in the market in Ponte Vedra Beach, Jacksonville, and just that town, it was hovering around 350 homes on the market. I looked yesterday, within a month and a half, it's now at 475.
oh yeah, I see more open
Wow.
house signs every day now because it's summer season. People are coming in, right? But I was talking to the reason I'm
They're
up
not
here, I was
selling out on the other end.
no, and in my neighborhood, we've seen 3 new homes go on the market and a price discrepancies of 200 between $200,000. Two of them are in the nines, three of them are in the 700s, and none of them are selling,
Okay.
right? And three of them been on the market probably 9, 12 months, and they're at these levels. I was talking with the reason I'm up here, meet with this lady, they're looking at buying a place down near Gar. And she goes, they're coming off their prices at 80, 100, $200,000 clips. And granted, these are
Mhm.
7-figure homes, but these $1.5 million homes are now 1.2. And as
Yep.
soon as they break 900, that's when I
Yep.
think you see massive pressure on that high end market.
Yep.
It starts to, I mean, RH, prime example. What is the rich person doing?
That's right.
Yeah. So going back, bring that back to the IBM guy saying everything's wonderful. Yeah, you probably said it in '07 as well. you know,
Yeah.
And I
well,
think
granted,
that's
But again, it's IBM. They're not really looking at the consumer.
it's not just
right.
They're
IBM
dealing
though,
with
Bob.
businesses. It's
It's all the
B2B.
people on CNBC who profit off of pushing prices up. You know,
Yes.
Oh
and
yeah,
they
Agreed.
yeah,
Agreed. Yeah, we understand they all have an agenda.
yeah. And
right.
so just you got to be careful, and they all have their agenda. You're right, and these people like on the halftime report, they all have positions that they want to get out there and talk about how great. Like that one lady, the blonde lady, she's always about Target. Target's done nothing. Cleveland Cliffs, that's another one that Leventhal has been on for 4 years. That just sat at $13 forever. He goes to dinner with the guy that owns it, and he pushes it because he has a ton of shares in it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again,
No, I realize
hey,
we're talking about a stock, they're talking about their position in the stock and
yeah,
how they want to keep pushing it up or they want to get out.
Yeah.
I'll,
I
I'll
mean, if the
listen to
guy
I'll
from
listen to their
IBM,
picks. I'll listen to their
I,
picks and I'll look at the charts and I'll go, holy shit, I wouldn't
Yeah.
buy this right now.
Yeah, but how many other suckers will?
Yeah, yeah, they will. Yeah.
And that's the sad part.
right. All righty.
Let's
What a
take a
fun
look here. How
day.
about it? This is really interesting. Let me. This is IBM. So no wonder the guy thinks everything's good.
Right. Right. But it's such,
Yeah.
I mean, how many people listen to him and go, oh, I know I'm 90 days delinquent on my credit card, but the economy's great. I'm gonna go, I mean, how many people said, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, what do they say? It says it's a recession when your neighbor loses his job and a depression when you lose your job.
Right, exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah,
Does IBM do quantum work?
they do.
They
Yeah,
are,
they,
yeah.
they,
Yeah.
Because that's what I think is causing this IBM push up. Is Jason, the NVIDIA
Jensen.
CEO, was talking about how quantum is not very far away. He's changing his position.
Yeah.
There's been a major breakthrough in quantum research in Oxford University. They're about to publish a paper about qubit and a unit of qubit, how they have perfected the error rate down to about 1 in 10 million to 1. So it's made it. There's a major breakthrough with regard to the progress that's been made.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, they're saying, or Jensen is saying that quantum 2 years is going to start working its way into the systems. Not 100%, but they're shortening it now. They went from 20 years to 15 years, and now 2 years where they're going to start deploying quantum. Not 100%, but the start of it.
This is my mom's been working on a quantum computer. Here it is, right here. She's a leading cutting edge of quantum computing. Most people don't know it, but
Is that called the Grinkmeyer X42?
yeah, this is it disguised as a Dell, but this
Yeah.
is what quantum will be.
Yeah, that's the future of our computing right there.
Yeah,
In Birmingham, Alabama, in the
Yeah,
garage of
nice.
the Grinkmeyers, next to Trent's Corvette.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So, all
Awesome.
the other stuff.
Anyone else have anything? It's been a good discussion today. It's kind of been really good. I enjoy days like this where we can kind of look at charts and talk, and I really enjoy everyone's participation. You're all welcome to chime in. Don't feel like you can't, because you can. And there are no silly questions. And I appreciate the chat, and I appreciate everyone getting up in the morning and being a part of this. And Trent from Birmingham today.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I thought he looks
Mark?
different background.
Mark, is this
yeah.
recorded?
Yeah.
Because I just wanted, June 12th was the day that I heard Trent say he's optimistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it to 12? Yes.
Yes.
You missed it. 2 days, was it 2 or 3 days ago? I was neutrally optimistic.
Yeah.
Okay, so the optimistic scale index is going up. So, and I
Okay,
named
wait a minute.
dates too. 20th of June and the 2nd of July.
He's pretty
We'll mark
sharp
that.
today. You notice that, Doc?
Yeah.
What's that?
I said you're pretty sharp today.
Well,
Oh,
when
yeah,
he goes,
well,
I think when he goes to Birmingham,
haircut.
his dad charges him up. a little bit.
Yeah.
wait, oh my God. I literally stood, we got it. We were talking about stuff. I love my dad. He's a very passionate man. And I just at one point stood.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Kerry shut him off.
The Birmingham freeze.
Yeah. Kerry shut him off. Hit the button.
Gary shut him off. That's a good one.
We didn't hear what
He
you
just
we didn't hear what you
froze
said,
out.
Trent.
Yeah,
Your
he
dad
just-
shut you off.
Yeah, you just froze. You're frozen now.
You need to tell your dad to update his Wi-Fi.
He's got the
Yeah.
red button on his finger.
He does.
Pour me out. I was like, oh, everybody. Yeah. See, I'm on his internet too.
Yeah.
Tell him to
He's-
update that thing.
yeah.
All right,
He's cutting
Yeah.
you off.
Well, he's got my mom out there cranking the
Power?
internet.
He's got Samantha
router.
watching you.
There's the bell.
Yeah.
Here
Yeah.
we go.
He's got the filter system, right? All right, we
Bye,
gotta
guys.
wrap it up.
Have a good
I
day,
gotta hit the
everyone.
road and head back home.
Yep.
Patrick, hold down the pond.
Yep. Patrick, you make sure.
Down the pond.
I see your windows open, but I can't hear the birds today, so,
No, they're a bit silent today. They're silent.
yeah. Yeah. They must have got into your wine supply.
It must have.
Yeah. All right, guys, we will see you tomorrow.
Take
Bye.
care.
Have a
See
good
y'all
day.
later.
All right,
Live
thank
well.
you. Thank you for
Yep.
being.